You know, ladies and gentlemen, I have to say that Tucker Carlson just never ceases to impress me. He doesn't cease to impress me because there is no amount of money that you could pay somebody, right? That just nothing that you could give them to believe that Tucker Carlson isn't being paid. I just don't believe that any person who's sane can actually, like, you have to look at who he is, who he has on the show. I just want to show you all who is next to be on the Tucker Carlson show. Like, it gets bad, but then it just gets worse. Okay, I'm sorry. I have to tell you this. There's data that suggests that the overwhelming majority of you who are regulars on this channel have not subscribed. For me, that's a problem. Not that you can't be here, not that you can't just watch this content, but why not subscribe? You're coming here every day anyway, and there's so much more we're going to do that you don't want to miss. So hit the subscribe and the notification bell so that you can be updated with everything new that we do. Okay, Ian Carroll is slated to be on there, and I just want to show you who Ian Carroll is. And not only being a fan, boy, girl of Candace Owens, he happens to have become probably just as bad as her as being the arch nemesis of TPUSA and Erica Kirk, by the way. And the reason why this is so telling and why it's so weird, I just want you to understand that how so weird, how Tucker could be such a good friend, TPUSA. He speaks, give a eulogy for Charlie. He's, donates $1 million to TPUSA and all these other things. And then he has on Ian Carroll. Like, almost everybody who Charlie, Ian, I don't know at the time that he was alive, but for sure, Nick Fuentes and all these, it's like the guy's just unhinged. Just please come on my show. If you hate Charlie Kirk, if you hate America, if you hate Erica, please come on my show. Please, I want you more. You hate Israel, right? Then you could be on my show. That is the criteria, ladies and gentlemen. I just want to show you who Ian Carroll is, just in case you are not familiar with who he is. See this low life of a person. Go slot 4.
Are you a bunch of slackers, Erica? Zach, in case you weren't aware, she's up, which is kind of her MO ever since she's been a CEO. She's up bigly. Defamation. That makes Turning Point look like that makes Turning Point look retarded. What exactly happened to the Doge effort, Erica? You a bunch of slackers? Are you a bunch of slackers, Erica? You slacking off on your Doge effort? It'd be a real shame if Erica were to do some Doge effort. Listen, Turning Point, listen, Turning Point, and all of y'all shills. Just because you're retarded doesn't mean we all have to be retarded too.
I just wanted you to get acquainted with who the next guest of Tucker Carlson is. Like, you have to see this. And what's interesting is about all these guys, they are so hard to look at. They are so hard to consume. I don't even know how people actually consume them. And it's deeper than, I'm telling you, it is deeper than just disagreeing with these individuals. It's far different. There are plenty of people who I have disagreed with, and I'm sure that those of you who are listening to this can think of people that you disagree with that it just doesn't irk you when they speak or to see their face, right? There's such a spiritual depravity in all of these individuals. Ian Carroll, Candace Owens, Tucker Carlson, Nick, there's something that boils inside. And I will say this, much more so by these guys than sometimes Nick. Nick's just vile. He's disgusting and all these other things like that. But you can see him on a regular podcast. And because maybe, what, Coleman actually says, what he actually said was right, that he puts on this different face. He's less, I hate this because it always sounds like I'm giving this guy compliments, and I think he's, just don't take my words the wrong way, right? I think he's much more misguided. I think Nick Fuentes is completely misguided. A lot of this stuff is intentional. Some things he's intentionally misguided on. Other things he has these beliefs, and I've seen him break down things, and he's just off with a few things that, there's a lot of truth there, but then he's off. And so that little bit that took him off took him in a completely different direction and made him a complete nutcase and a bigot and a racist and everything else that he is. However, with these other guys, I think what's happening is that they're so disingenuous that, sometimes I've talked about this before, and I don't know if anybody can identify that sometimes when somebody's lying and they're saying something to you, they're being dishonest or they're lying and they're saying it to you. There are some people who have the personality where they just call people out right then and there, right? But generally, people that don't have that personality, or if they're in a circumstance where it's not easy for whatever reason in that environment to just call them out there at that moment, then you could start to feel the embarrassment for them. You understand what I'm saying? Like, you could start feeling embarrassment for them, and it's a shameful thing that they're lying to you, being dishonest with you, or whoever's there, and for whatever reason, you're not calling them out, but as they're lying, and you know that they're lying, you know that they're being disingenuous or dishonest about whatever it is as they're saying it to you. And you could just start to feel embarrassed for the person. It is a thing. That same level of just being irked, whatever bone or whatever that is hitting. That's the same thing I get when I see people like Tucker Carlson or Ian Carroll, who will be the next guest, right? And Tucker is so busy right now with the new AF, by the way, which is not American first, but Arab first, that we just cannot see this guy in America anymore. He's just always in another Arab country. Here's Tucker on his visit. I don't know where this is actually, probably somewhere Saudi Arabia, Jordan. I think this is on his Jordan trip recently, yeah. So he went to Jordan recently, and you can see that some of that's a little bit too close for comfort for me. That's just the way I feel. A little bit too close for comfort. And I want you to keep look at him over there with the traditional dress. I have more pictures for you, ladies and gentlemen. That's going to shock you. Going to shock you when you see how somebody responds to this. And it's going to show, because one of the things about Tucker is he's the easiest guy to just put up a comparison of him to him just a couple days apart, and you're going to get something completely brand new, something completely different. Here he is over here pandering to the people of Jordan. He went on a trip over there, and just hear what he had to say about his trip. Hey, wait 1 second. I want to tell you about something really unique I was invited to be a part of. It's called the Dream Raffle, and the grand prize is a fully furnished $1.2 million apartment in Jerusalem. It's not a timeshare, not a discount, an actual move-in ready home in one of the most meaningful cities on earth. You're entering a raffle, so it's a chance to win. But here's what matters to me. This isn't just about the prize. The raffle is run by a nonprofit, and every single ticket supports real causes in Israel: emergency responders, families in need, widows and orphans, soldiers, and community programs. So whether you win or not, your participation is doing real good in the world. They also have bonus prizes for early entries, including cash giveaways. If this speaks to you, the dream, the mission, or both, check it out at thedreamraffle.com/Nissim. That's thedreamraffle.com/Nissim. Okay, back to the show.
This is definitely one of the prettiest I've ever been to. Well, the first thing I noticed is how pretty it is. I've been to Jordan before. I don't know if it's you've had rain or you've devoted more water resources to the plants, but the trees are just brighter and more numerous than I remember. It looks wonderful. The country looks great. We just drove across it, and I was just struck by how pretty it is. I loved going to Jesus's baptism spot on the Jordan, which was remarkable. I love the churches. I was amazed by how much land the government of Jordan has given to Christian churches. I thought that was quite a statement. I loved it. And Wadi Rum is the quietest place I've ever been. And as someone who loves quiet and silence and thinks it's really important, it was just wonderful to be here. I mean, no sound.
Who's buying this, by the way? Hey, are you guys buying this? Are you buying this ad for almost every Arab country, Jordan? Like, are you buying this? This doesn't talk about disingenuous. Like, who is he selling this to? I'm trying to figure out who is buying any of this. He has become literally the spokesman for Islam. That's really what he has.
At all. I woke up early this morning and sat outside and drank a cup of coffee and marinated in the silence. So no, it's one of the prettiest places on earth. I can say that with authority since I've been all around, been to a lot of places.
Kafaya.
And this is definitely one of the prettiest I've ever been to. I am standing in front of a Christian monastery in an overwhelmingly Muslim country. This is the country of Jordan. And I am shocked above all by the beauty of it, by the care the government has taken to restore, to preserve, to beautify this area along the Jordan River, just steps from where my Savior, Jesus Christ, was baptized by John 2,000 years ago. And I'm overwhelmed by it. And I want to say thanks again for the beauty too. One of the ways I personally judge whether something is from God or from his enemies is on the basis of beauty. God is beauty. And so when you see buildings and landscapes like this, you can feel certain whoever did this is on the right side.
Listen, Tucker, whatever you're selling, I ain't buying, because you are a sellout. I'm telling you, the guy is such a sellout. It's ridiculous at this point. Now, okay, baptized over there. I mean, the territory, that, by the way, Jordan is Israel. That is Israeli territory. And I know that probably is going to be controversial for all these people. Israel's taking land and all these other things like that. That is technically Israel. And contrary to what you just saw there in that video, you could even look this up on the satellite. This has been shown. This is part, a lot of tourists have seen this. A lot of Christians who have been here have seen that when you look at it on the satellite, there's much more desert on that side of what was considered ancient Israel than this side of ancient Israel. And that's because the prophets have spoken that the land responds in part to the Jewish people being in their land, meaning that in Ezekiel, where it talks about the vegetations, the fruit, the budding of the trees is a sign of redemption, but the sign of the rightful landowners returning back to their land. And that's why you'll see that a few of these other territories that are also surrounding what is today the modern state of Israel are much more deserty than green. So that just happens to be the truth. I just wanted to say that fun fact. But Tucker, again, is being criticized. And the reason why he's being criticized is because he had a lot to say about all the politicians who were making their way to the Western Wall. Him and other people also said the same thing. But and not only did they make it to the Western Wall, not only did he criticize them for praying at the Western Wall, but because they had on a yarmulke, because they partook in what Jews did. But I want you to see this. So I think his name is Awesome Jew on Twitter, wrote this just based on the video that we all seen, right? He says, this is next level pathetic. You don't get to mock politicians and influencers for praying at the Western Wall and then turn around and I think it says cosplay the same religious tourism with the Muslims. You did the exact same thing, Tucker. Tucker Carlson is now strutting through the Middle East in a cafe. Look at that. All that he was talking. And this is what I'm trying to point out to all of you. There is a certain just dishonesty, disingenuous, that just not real. I don't know. These are plastic people from this, Billie Eilish, all the, you see it, plastic virtue signaling, whether it's on the left, or you see all these double-sided things where a person can say one thing and then turn around and say another thing. You know, the biggest contrast for sure is the many years apart of Tucker Carlson way back then to now. Easy one. But this guy does it just months apart from himself. And it's just not you and me seeing it. Other people are seeing it. Watch this clip.
Anyone who's still talking about any of that nonsense, Gaza, Iran, should be called out immediately as someone who just doesn't care about America.
And here is just 2 days after that.
Jank. Good to see you, Tucker.
In Gaza.
Iran in Gaza. Iran, Gaza. Iran, Gaza. Full in Gaza. Iran.
In Gaza, in Gaza.
In Gaza, in Iran. In Gaza, Iran. Iranians, Gaza. In Gaza, Iranian, Iran. In Gaza. Because we should do something about Iran.
Anyone who's still talking about any of that nonsense, Gaza, Iran, should be called out immediately as someone who just doesn't care about Americans.
Oh, and I looked it up just for good measure. Israel was mentioned 222 times in his episode. For context, that's about on average a little more than every 30 seconds. On top of Gaza and Iran, and I'm sure other terms that match that topic.
Listen, you just can't make this stuff up. It just already does it for you. People of God, steadfast. People of God, steadfast, because the victory is coming. The victory is coming. Over all of this shenanigans, all of this nonsense, this whirlwind, a cesspool of dishonest people, grifters, groypers, progressives, all these other things, they will be laid to rest very, very soon. I'm just a firm believer, because a lie can only go for a little bit of time before it breaks down. It just doesn't have anything to stand up on, right? So, and even if it, like we said before, even if it began with some truth, and that's how a lot of these guys garnered their audience, by the way. They said something, they started off with truth. There were things that they were contributing at that time, right? A lot of them just mimicking what other people are saying. But nevertheless, it's the truth that got them to their place. But guess what? When they got to that place, they abandoned the truth. And so we'll see what happens. But this is the new AF. This is the new AF. Arabs first. Yours truly, Tucker Carlson. Let's move on. I thank you so much for watching that. I want to tell you, if you want to listen to one of my longer full episode podcasts, you should click on this one right here. But the algorithm is suggesting that you may like this one right here.